The 2025 Lexus LC 500. We do have some subtle updates to talk about here, so let's get started with that. We now have a new exterior color known as Iridium. The carbon fiber scuff plate is now available with the LC 500H with the Sport package. But moving on, we have front and rear underfloor braces added to the LC 500. However, in the press media blurb that they have shared with us, apparently that front and rear underfloor brace applies to the coupe versions and the LC 500H. And aside from that, these vehicles, they are now going to start at $100,425, and that includes the destination fee of $1,175. So that means the price has gone up by about $800 compared to the 2024 LC. And 2024, that's when they updated the infotainment to the new 12.3-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, and we also have the 360 camera as well. All of that does come as standard, especially for 2025. And if you are new to this channel, I did previously own a 2020 Lexus LC 500, and I really liked the touchpad in that vehicle. Not only was the implementation of the screen elegant, it sat behind that glass panel, but I also found the touchpad to be easy to use. Regardless though, it doesn't matter because it's gone now, and this new touchscreen is what everybody wants. And since I've finished covering all of the new changes and the new updates for 2025, let's answer the question of whether this car is still worth it or not in 2025. I would say if you are older and you're wealthy and you've experienced everything and you're bored of everything, then yes, this car is 100% still worth it. It's always been worth it for this reason. You know how a lot of car YouTubers and just wealthy individuals in general, they just keep buying new cars every 6 months to a year? It's because they're getting bored of it. Sure, they'll make 1,000,001 different excuses, but the reality is they're simply getting bored of these cars. And they keep lusting and they keep searching for a vehicle that's going to fill the hole in their heart, essentially. Spoiler alert, no car is ever going to fill that emptiness inside of you. That's literally impossible. A rather wealthy individual recently told me that the only one who can fill that hole is Christ himself, and I kind of have to agree with that. But as far as cars go, the LC, that's something that you can own it for a longer period of time, and it doesn't get old right away. But despite the LC 500 being a truly special car, there is one problem with it, and that is the fact there are no good deals to be had with these things. The lease deals suck, there's no promotional finance rates, there's no manufacturer incentives. This is now a very expensive car no matter how you slice it, and you simply can't finagle your way into this car like I did in the past. There is no $1,000 a month, $1,200 a month lease deals going on with these vehicles. Those days, they've long been done. I will have a free leasing calculator provided to you by AutoCompanion in the description box below. This calculator shows you the interest rate of a lease, the residual values, and the incentives that you can get in your local zip code. After plugging in the numbers, I used a $110,000 MSRP LC as an example, and I gave myself a $10,000 discount, because that's the bare minimum I would want if I were to purchase one of these cars. And even with that discount, which is going to be below invoice, for 3 years, no money down on the lease, assuming you have perfect credit, the payments are going to be like $1,900 a month, which is completely absurd. Most people, they would rather just finance a Z06 Corvette at that point. And part of the reason why the LC lease is so expensive is because the residual value is set to 50%, so that doesn't help. And the interest rate, it's almost 8%. And as mentioned before, there are no real incentives to be had other than some very niche things, but for the most part, there are no incentives. So you can forget about leasing. And on the Lexus website, as of right now, October 2024, there are no promo finance deals like 2% for 48 months. There's none of that. And just so you're aware, there's about an $8,000 difference from MSRP to invoice. So if you get like a $10,000 discount, then you're effectively getting the vehicle for $2,000 under invoice. And you can see the invoice price of almost every car on the JD Power website. But if you want the LC, this is what I'm saying, and you have to be well off to purchase this, either with cash, which I personally would never pay cash for a car. I just don't think that's very wise. I made a whole video talking about why that is, while showing you the maths behind it, but that's besides the point. Regarding financing, you would have to go through like a credit union. On PenFed's website, as of right now, October 2024, they're at 4.79% for 60 months, so interest rates have dropped a little bit for financing, and they're charging a little over 6% for a used car finance rate, once again for 60 months. So that's probably your best case scenario, but there's no denying that those are some very high payments, whether you decide to finance a new one or whether you try to finance a certified pre-owned LC500. But yeah, if you can swing it, the LC is still up there for me. But now we have some new competitors to talk about, like the new Z06 Corvette. You can have those for about $125 to $145, somewhere in that range for a well-equipped Z06. And the new Vettes, they also come with a very special interior space, solid, well-crafted. The only two cons that I noticed with the new Corvette interiors, it's going to be the plasticky buttons. And just about every Corvette has like that panel gap on the passenger side. I'm beginning to think that's normal because every Corvette has it. But aside from that, the sturdiness of the cabin, the leather qualities, all of that, it rivals and equals the LC500. So that's great. The only main con that you have to keep in mind with the Corvettes is the fact that it's a Chevy and you have to get it serviced at a Chevrolet dealership. That's the biggest problem with those cars. The Porsche stuff, if it's not a GT3 or a GT4 RS, then it's going to be plain boring. Simple as that. I recently drove a $180,000 MSRP Carrera 4S 2024 model year, and it was just sedate and robotic in its nature. Yeah, it does everything well. It rides decent, it looks good, nice technology on the inside, supercar quick, it's got the numbers, but the feeling behind the wheel, it's almost nothing. It feels like the car is doing everything and you're simply there for the ride. That's kind of what it feels like to operate a new 911, and a regular Corvette Stingray is also kind of like that. It's very soft, sedate, and safe to drive. It's nowhere near as razor sharp as the Z06. The Stingray, it's really a grand touring car that happens to put down really good numbers on paper. That's about it. But I am still infatuated by that Stingray. In fact, I do recommend it to most people because the average person, they don't understand or appreciate the LC500. So instead, I just tell them to get the Stingray because that's going to do the job for the average person. Plus, I love the electric folding top of the Stingray. That's brilliant. I would say the real car to consider outside of the LC is the BMW M850i. It has a surprisingly nice sounding twin turbo V8, great power, nice tech, the Bowers & Wilkins audio system. That's an option worth getting with the 8 Series cars, and you can get far better deals on the M850i compared to the LC500. It actually leases out okay. I saw one guy get like 18% off the MSRP of a 2024 BMW M8. That means the dealership lost like 15 grand selling him that car. So if you're a shrewd negotiator, the 8 Series is worth looking into because they're about to stop production on that. And I also happen to like the way it looks. The M3, M4, that's something else to consider. Obviously the discounts won't be as high, but those are some nice, capable cars. Another interesting choice would be getting a supercharged Mustang from Lebanon Ford. I was personally kind of looking at it and entertaining that thought, you know, ordering a dark horse Mustang from them, which would sticker for around 76 grand. And they charge 12 grand to do the supercharger kit, and they're able to roll all of this into a finance deal. So for about 88 grand, you get a supercharged, well-equipped dark horse. I don't know, it's worth looking into. The dark horse is the proper Mustang because it has the best chassis tuning, the widest wheel and tire setup possible, and it's simply the most capable Mustang with the forged internals for the engine, so it can genuinely handle that supercharger kit. Only thing I don't like about the Mustang is the fact that I'm not sure how many Ford dealerships are going to be able to service a supercharged Mustang, even though it still retains all of its factory warranty and all that. Plus, when I recently tested an EcoBoost Mustang, the new one, the infotainment screen gave out on me like 3 or 4 times when I would start up the vehicle, the infotainment would not boot up, once again, 3 or 4 different times. So that was a bit annoying, especially since the HVAC is embedded into that infotainment screen. But there is no denying that that would be a pretty special driving experience. So that's one car. And then the only other thing I would consider is like a certified pre-owned Jaguar F-Type, the R model with 575 horsepower, but that's still going to be about 75 grand. But I do think Jaguar, they have some CPO finance special where you can get it for 5% interest for 60 months. So that's something to look into. But that's my hierarchy of relatively special / good value cars that you might want to consider. Got the F-Type, got the Dark Horse, the LC, or the Stingray if you just happen to hate the LC or don't understand it. The Z06, that is genuinely worth the compromises. And regarding Porsche, I mean, it's either the GT3 or really the GT4 RS, which is going to set you back about $200,000. But that's probably the best car I've ever driven. And the GT4 RS is far superior to the regular GT3s. And the BMW M850i, well, that's simply a really good deal. And as far as twin turbo V8s go, it's not too bad. Other than that, you can look into some certified pre-owned Aston Martins, maybe like a Vantage from 2020. That could be kind of cool because it's got that AMG V8. But that's my thoughts regarding relatively cool cars in today's ridiculous market. And that's your look at the new 2025 LC500. Let me know if you have any thoughts on this. If you found value with this content, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm also going to have AutoCompanion's information down below in the description box. He doesn't just offer that calculator, he is also one of the largest car brokers in the United States. So if you want a BMW 8 Series at a pretty good discount, or even a M4 BMW, he's got discounts on that. He also does offer Lexus, but I've never seen him advertise any LC500 deals. But I'm sure if you decided to build an LC500, he could pass you a discount on that. You would have to ask him about it, which if you are going to build an LC, I would avoid that bespoke program. I think there are some delays with it from what I've heard from certain people. And the bespoke program, it's not that great to begin with. The only reason why you would even want to consider it is to maybe get the blacked out accents on the outside, but they don't even have the orange interior like they did in the past. So that's kind of pointless to me. But to be fair, they did replace it with that new white and blue interior, so that's cool. I would just stick with the regular LC500 builds. And I would try to get the new 21-inch wheels that resemble the RCF wheels. I think that looks a lot better because I don't like what they've done with the standard 21-inch wheels. Those are the wheels that I used to have on my car, but they flipped the chrome and the black and now it just looks weird. So I'm not a fan of the base wheels anymore. It looked good on my car. I don't like what they've done with the new ones. And these cars, they're going to sticker around $109,000, $110,000 once you add in the dynamic handling package and a few other necessities like the Mark Levinson audio, heads-up display, etc. All right, but thank you again for watching this video. Take care and goodbye.